The tipping culture is crazy and outrageous here. Crazy. Hey Aari listeners, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. So for this entry, I'm gonna dive a little deeper into one of the themes I talk about in like here and there in my videos. I did one entry so far on that topic. We're gonna talk about some migration struggles, being migrated to the US. There are some struggles that I do have. So I compiled a little list for you guys, and we're gonna dive a little deeper into it. So if you want to hear more, stick around. Let's talk it out. So this is not me complaining. This is not me being ungrateful. This is not me saying, well, okay, I don't like this place, let me go home, or oh my gosh, Trinidad was this way, let me stay here. No, this is about my experiences and the adjustments that I've had to make, like growing up in one place, coming to the next, and just being around a different ethos of people, um, and just remembering that despite the cultural differences, we're still all part of the human race, and everyone deserves love, everyone deserves respect, and I just love getting to know new people. It's a blessing. It's a blessing, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm grateful for all experiences back home and here, and if you have any experiences, you can share it with me. This will be interesting. This will be interesting. The first topic I have is manners, right? So growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, that's where I'm from. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm from. I grew up with my granny always telling me, hey, manners make it man. Manners and respect carry me throughout the world, right? And living in Trinidad, when you approach someone on the road early in the morning, we say, good morning. We don't have any other conversation besides good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, right? Sometimes we are extra people. So sometimes we will say morning, morning, or we say morning, morning, morning. I don't know why we say it multiple times, but that just makes us who we are, right? There was a time, I was heading to work back home, and I told a gentleman it, and he didn't respond to me. And I watched him and say, but me and you get up together. Oh, well. He's like, oh gosh, this Molly, sorry. Morning. And that is just how it is. In the States, yeah. Well, at least where I'm at. Right? Where I'm at. And it was a huge adjustment when I first came as well. Now I'm kind of like accustomed in a sense, but still have that problem. So like you would see somebody in the road in the morning or in the afternoon, just the mere fact of just approaching somebody, they stare at you or they don't even acknowledge you. And I find that so strange. Some of them would say, hey, what's up? Or some would say, hey, but there's never a good morning, good afternoon, good night. And that's so strange to me. Like, I'm just like confused. I'm like, no morning, no good afternoon, no good night, nothing, nothing. So, manners. So let's talk about speech. So, when I speak, a lot of people try to, I don't know how to explain it, but like, they move as though I'm speaking gibberish. So if I say, I'll have a glass of water, or I'll take water instead of like soda, or we would say soft drink back home. So I'd be like, "But I'll take water." Excuse me? You mean water? I'm like, yeah. Because in Trinidad, we say, okay, potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Right? It's the same thing. I'm not speaking gibberish. I'm not speaking Spanish. I'm not speaking a different language. Even like there are times when I would say, well, okay, how much is it? No, they will probably ask me a question, and the answer is probably 30. And because I say 30, be like, ma'am? And I'll be like, 30? And they'll be like, you mean 30? So they don't, what I've realized is that they don't pronounce their T's. They pronounce their T's as D's. And because I don't, they make it seem as though I'm speaking a different language. And that is just like, it's annoying sometimes. It's annoying. And also I've realized that when I do speak, a lot of people are mesmerized by the accent. So they hear it and they just like stunned to actually hear me speaking differently. And then they don't listen. So I have to constantly repeat myself, so yeah, speech and them not listening. I don't mind repeating myself, a lot of people, they do love the accent. So like some of them do like ask me things to hear me speak, which is fine, which is okay. I am totally fine with that. But it gets really annoying when they try to make it seem as though I'm speaking a different language, where they can't understand what I'm trying to say. Like water, 30, computer, they will say computer. They will say, what's another one? Iron. I would say iron. They will say iron. And I'm not speaking a different language. Yeah. So the next one, let me see. Whew. Okay, so the next one is the tipping culture here. And it's something that still confuses me up to like till this day. I am confused, perplexed, annoyed even. This one is a rant, right? Because, okay, so let me tell you how it is. Let's say going into a fast food restaurant, let's say, well, think of one. I don't want to call a name. And what they do here, so the cashier will ring up your order, you tell them what you want, and what they do here, they swing the device around for you to tip them. And when I first came here, I was like real confused. I'm like, why am I supposed to do here? Because you are just doing your job. Your job is to take my order and send it in the back, or however the system is, send it to the computer, however the system is, and the person prepares my order. That is the job that you signed up for. There's nothing that you did above and beyond for me to receive a tip. And this is in a lot of places in the US. It's like they watch you, or they expect you to tip them, or just to compensate for what their boss is not giving them, which I find it's crazy. It's crazy to me. How you taking my order for a meal would equivalent me giving you a tip just for saying, well, okay, I'll have a fries, a burger, a sweet drink, and you swing around a device for me to tip you for what? What did you do? What did you do than somebody in healthcare probably assists me with what payment or tip they getting? And it's something that I don't know if I'll ever get used to or accustomed to. And then sometimes I do feel guilty for not tipping or not tipping enough. The whole understood agreement or consensus is to tip 10% or 20%. And sometimes I do still feel bad. But at the same time, like, it's not my responsibility to give you something that you agreed to take. You agreed to do a job. If you get tipped, you get tipped. If you don't get tipped, you don't get to go on a rant on me or anybody else because that's the job you choose. So I don't think I'll ever get accustomed to that one, and I think that will always be a rant of mine here because I do not understand it. I do not understand it. I would like to call it one like movement in a sense because it's like everything is close to get to, but yet still far to get to, that people would want to drive there. Everyone drives everywhere, right? And growing up in Trinidad, you'll walk like a couple of streets down just to go by the shop, or what we call like a parlor. We call it a parlor home, right? You walk and you go by the shop, go down by little Miss Jenny, go by, get a half dozen eggs, a little piece of cheese and some parchment or greaseproof paper, and everything here you have to drive. No, it's not a problem. It's not a complaint. It's just a mere observation. Everything people drive, they jump in their car and they drive everywhere, everywhere. Also, what I did notice though is that the highways here, which is very scary, the highways here have no lights, like no lampposts, like what we are accustomed to, like what I am accustomed to back home. They have no lights on the highway. There are like mere reflectors, like on the ground and on the signs, and that is it. There's no lights like along the median or anything giving light onto the road, which is strange for me because back home, the highways, the main roads, everything is lit in the night, like these tall lampposts with lights. That is strange for me. The other one would be holidays. America hardly have holidays. And if you are a working person, you are always working. You are always working in Trinidad. Life nice. Like we have about 14 or 15 holidays, right? And these are holidays that the general population stay home for. Of course, the essential workers like the nurses, the doctors, the taxi drivers, some grocery store clerks, maybe not, because majority of places close, right, when there are holidays. Here we have that people actually stay home for. We probably have about 5, 6, I think 5 or 6. Compared to Trinidad, I have like 14 or 15. We have New Year's Day, Spiritual Baptist Day. We have Good Friday, Easter Monday. I'm trying to go along the month. Good Friday, Easter Monday, Eid al-Fitr, Corpus Christi, Labor Day, Emancipation, Independence, Republic Day, Diwali, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. I think I missed out 2 of them. Labor Day. What's another one? We have about 14 or 15, right? The people actually stay home and do get paid for. They don't have to use PTO. They don't have to because in America, if you don't work, you don't get paid, right? I think there are some private organizations in Trinidad that do work that way. Some of them, but they are very few. But the general public, when it's a holiday, you get paid. And I just find it confusing. Or at least to me, because I've worked jobs. Like most of my experience is in government jobs, so I always would be home on those holidays and be paid. right? And here it's strange. Here I think it's just New Year's, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Is there another one? 4th of July. And that's it. There are other days, like Veterans Day, Columbus Day, Juneteenth, MLK, Columbus. Yeah, did I say Columbus Day already? Columbus Day. So there are a few days, but it's not celebrated. So they just observe it, but they don't stay home for it. And coming here, it's just strange. I'm like, so you guys work, just work. No linemen, no staying home to relax, no long weekend. It has been an adjustment, really and truly. It has been an adjustment. Not a complaint. It could be a little mere rant, but it is really an adjustment, and it's just like strange. It's just strange. So remember when I was talking about manners? I think this is kind of interlink in a sense, because even though you tell the stranger on the road good morning or whatever, you actually kind of will build a rapport with your neighbors, right? Here, you don't know your neighbors. I don't know my neighbors. I don't know any of my neighbors, right? And I've lived somewhere else before. I didn't know any neighbors either. And let me tell you why. People, just that mere fact, people don't acknowledge you. They don't say hi. Some of them. They don't introduce themselves. Everybody just kind of isolate themselves and go into their apartment. They go into their homes and they don't come out until they have to go do what they need to do. And maybe rightfully so. I don't know. That's probably just the culture here. And it just takes some getting used to. Because, back home, you could have say, well, okay, hey, Peter, I had some lime there. Where are, boy? And you batter goods. Sometimes you don't even have to batter goods. You just say, hey, boy, I had some mango there. What's a mango? That's another word that they get tied up for. So they say mango, and I say mango. Get rich. Anyway. So say, hey boy, I have some mango here, I have some mango from the tree, you want some? I have some lime here. Hey boy, I have some breadfruit, you want some breadfruit, blah blah blah. Here, I don't even know my neighbor to go and say, hey, I could get a cup of sugar. It's everybody's to themselves. And I can understand, but at the same time it's strange. So it has been an adjustment. Okay, the next one would be dress code, right? So, back home we have clothes for different things. We have clothes, well, that's how we were raised. You have clothes, you have home clothes, you have old clothes, you have church clothes, you have clothes for Christmas Day. You have clothes to go outside and play. You have different clothes for different things. Here, it's a free fall in the sense that anybody wears anything at any point in time once it's comfortable. And I've easily adjusted into that because I do the same thing too. And sometimes I have to. Okay, so my video cut off for some reason and I did not know when. Anyways, basically what I was saying is that we have different clothes for different things, and here it's just a free for all. You wear whatever you like once you're comfortable, even in church. Some people, I've even seen people wear shorts in church, thin strap tops, and coming from Trinidad, I have learned to always cover your shoulders, wear modest clothing for church, and people wear pajamas to go to the cinema. And I've grown accustomed to it. I even like being comfortable. So that's one that I easily fall in line with, but still keeping that um, headspace to not get too comfortable, you know. So that's that. Dress code, they just wear what's comfortable for them. And yeah. The next one is over complimenting. I would say that because sometimes you interact with someone and it could just be too much. Like when somebody is being fake with you and being really genuine about something that they do like. Some people would just do the most in terms of complimenting in order just to strike up a conversation. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be nice to me. I'm not saying that it's so weird or whatever. I'm just saying that sometimes it can be an overdue. Like, you just know when somebody genuine with you and when they're fake. Like, you just know. And I can tell. And I don't know if it's because of my culture clashing with theirs or I don't know. But sometimes it's an overdue. The other one, or the last one that I think I wanted to touch on before this cuts off again, is respect for marriage, because this is not just my experience, but my husband as well have experienced this. There's a general respect for marriage where we are at, and I think it's because I don't know if it's because we're in the south, right? Where we live is considered the south, and there's a general respect for marriage. There's this gentleman that I met, and he was so fascinated by the way I spoke, the accent that is, and he was like, "Where are you from? Jamaica?" And I mean, that's another thing too, eh? They think that the Caribbean is just Jamaica, right? So I had to inform him, okay, no, Trinidad and Tobago. I had to let him know where it's located and all that. And I did tell him, I said, well, I've always wanted to go to Jamaica, and hopefully I can soon, and that kind of thing. Just having friendly conversation. And he's like, well, we can go, And I'm like, just so, and he was just like, I mean, you don't have to do anything. You just show up. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Thank you. And he wasn't rude or anything. He was like, why? You got a boyfriend? I'm like, no, I got a husband. He's like, ooh, oh, I'm not doing that one. Okay, nice talking to you. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. And my husband as well have experienced instances where, people really, when they realize you're married, they have a standoff approach to it. It's not that they won't be friendly anymore. It's not that they upset because being married doesn't make you immune to people liking you. Okay, it doesn't make you immune to people wanting to date you. It doesn't make you immune to those types of things. So what I have observed is that there is a general respect for marriage, which I love. I love that. They're like, okay, I don't know if they feel as though God would strike them down. Maybe he would. I'm just kidding. But still, there is a respect for it, and I love it. I love it. I haven't had an experience where a man was like bold-faced enough to still come at me after I tell him I'm married. Sometimes they watching my finger as well, and they'd be like, "Oh, you taken?" I'm like, "Yes, I am," and they'd be like, "No, bless man, you got a good one." I mean, they don't know me from Adam, eh? But I laugh, I say thank you, and move on with it. But I do love the general respect for marriage. I love it. So yeah, while this is not complaints, this is not me just having a problem with everything. It's just merely struggles, observations, rants here and there. But just simply adjusting to my new life. I'm grateful for both experiences here and at home, and I know I'll have more. So I'll update on my diary you, my diary listeners, on my struggles. This has been a good one. A few things that, you know, still shake my head a little bit. It's a little perplexing, you know, but I love it the same. I love it all the same. I am grateful for every single experience. It shapes me into being a better individual, and I love that. I love that. So thank you for listening. I'll talk to you soon, God willing. Bye. You know what I did forget to mention is that, you know, while I have my struggles here and adjustment here, there's also an adjustment whenever I go home, which is something that I think a lot of persons who would have migrated might have a problem with or not. Like, I do talk to my family and some of my friends still regularly, and while conversations are the same, we can laugh, we can talk, we can speak in our dialect, and they can understand me, and I'd have to constantly repeat myself and all that. When I go back home, there is some sort of adjustment that needs to happen, and I'm accustomed, or I was accustomed, being very social, being very in your face, being you know, to being like a recluse, really, because of the culture here and everyone not so friendly, people sort of having their own spaces that they go into. It's just a challenge when I go back home, because it's like, okay, how do I act? I forget how to act. Like, I'm still me. I'm still silly. I still love to laugh. I still, you know, like to go out. I still, you know, but there's a shift that happens because your everyday life has changed, and it's a struggle when you're here and when you're there, and it's something that isn't really talked about a lot. So I do have my moments, like just mentally and physically. So the first time I went home, it was amazing. Like, I get to go back home, I get to see everybody. I went out, I did the most. And the second time I went back home, was the second or third, boy? I can't remember. But when I did go back home just recently this year, I really wanted to, you know, just sit back, just relax, and not have much to do, because I've grown so accustomed with being to myself, being with my husband, and just us by ourselves. It's just different, you know, and it's like, you know, you've grown accustomed to something for quite like a significant amount of time, and it's just like, this is what it is now. And then to come back to that, you know, it's just a mental thing, and it's something that is not talked about often. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.